The real cost of owning a private jet. There's a reason private jets are the ultimate status symbol, and it's not the price tag on the sticker. It's everything that comes after you sign the check. Today, we're breaking down what it actually costs to own a private jet, from the purchase price everyone assumes is the biggest number, to the yearly costs that quietly eat away at fortunes, and whether owning one ever really makes financial sense. The first number people fixate on is the sticker price, and it varies wildly depending on the class of aircraft. A light jet, the kind that seats 6 to 8 people, typically starts around 3 to 7 million pounds new. Move up to a mid-sized jet with better range and cabin space, and you're looking at 10 to 20 million. Large cabin, long-range jets, the ones that can fly non-stop across continents, run 30 million and up, sometimes well past 70. Buying used can cut the price significantly, sometimes by half or more, but older aircraft often need extensive refurbishment. New interiors, updated avionics, and engine work to bring them up to modern standards. Before any purchase closes, buyers pay for a pre-purchase inspection, a deep mechanical and structural check that can cost tens of thousands of pounds on its own, but is essential to avoid buying a hidden money pit. Then there's financing. Jets are typically financed similarly to yachts, large down payments, often 20 to 30%, followed by years of loan repayments at rates that reflect the asset's risk and depreciation. And depending on where you're based, sales tax and import duties on the purchase itself can add millions more to the final number before you've even flown it once. This is where the real cost of ownership lives, and it's relentless. Every private jet needs a flight crew, typically 2 pilots, and their salaries, training, and mandatory recurrent certifications add up to hundreds of thousands a year. Then there's where the jet sleeps. Hangar space at major airports isn't cheap, and owners pay monthly fees just to keep the aircraft stored and protected from weather. Insurance is another major line item, covering both the hull, the aircraft itself, and liability, which scales with the aircraft's value and how it's used. Maintenance is where costs can spiral unpredictably. Scheduled inspections are expensive, but at least predictable. Unscheduled repairs, known in the industry as AOG, aircraft on ground, can cost tens of thousands of pounds in a single incident. Engine overhauls are budgeted for separately too, with owners setting aside reserve funds per flight hour specifically to cover the eventual multi-million-pound cost of a full engine rebuild. Fuel is a constant, ongoing cost, and it's volatile. Jet fuel prices swing with global oil markets, and larger aircraft can burn through thousands of pounds worth of fuel on a single long-haul flight. Add landing fees, parking fees at busy airports, and international customs charges every time you cross a border, and the fixed costs of simply owning the aircraft before you've flown anywhere meaningful can easily exceed £1 million a year. Given how steep these numbers are, owners have found ways to offset the burden. The most common is chartering the jet out through a management company when it isn't being used personally. This turns an idle asset into a revenue source, though it comes with wear and tear, and owners give up a cut of the charter income to the management company running the operation. Fractional ownership is another route entirely, popularized by companies offering shares of an aircraft rather than the whole thing, letting buyers access private aviation without the full weight of sole ownership. Jet card programs work similarly from the buyer's side, guaranteeing a set number of flight hours per year on a private fleet without owning any aircraft outright. For those who do own outright and use the jet for business, tax depreciation rules in many countries allow significant write-offs in the early years of ownership, which changes the math considerably for high earners. Depreciation is the risk nobody advertises. Much like a car, a private jet loses a meaningful chunk of its value the moment it's delivered and continues depreciating steadily every year after. Unscheduled maintenance events are the other major risk. A single AOG incident, an unexpected mechanical fault, can ground the aircraft for weeks and cost far more than owners budgeted for that year. the resale market itself can shift quickly too. Economic downturns hit luxury asset markets hard, and sellers can find themselves needing to drop prices significantly to attract a buyer in a soft market. Crew retention is a quieter risk. Experienced pilots are in short supply, and losing a trained crew member means costly recruitment and retraining before the aircraft can fly again. But the single biggest risk is underutilization. If an owner doesn't fly enough hours per year, the fixed costs, crew, hangar, insurance, and maintenance reserves get spread across very few flights, making each trip absurdly expensive compared to simply chartering one. Resale value depends heavily on the model. Aircraft with strong reputations for reliability and popular cabin layouts tend to hold value better than less common models that fall out of favor. Industry rule of thumb suggests ownership only starts to make more financial sense than chartering once an owner is flying somewhere between 200 and 400 hours a year. A genuinely high bar most buyers never actually reach. Timing a sale matters too. Savvy owners try to sell before a major scheduled inspection or engine overhaul comes due, since buyers factor those looming costs directly into their offers. Selling back into a fractional ownership program or jet card network can also simplify an exit, offering a faster, more predictable sale than searching for a private buyer independently. So does owning a private jet ever make financial sense? For most buyers, honestly, no, not in the way a straightforward investment would. It's a lifestyle purchase, justified by time saved and convenience, not by the numbers on a spreadsheet. For the small number of owners flying hundreds of hours a year, the math genuinely can work out better than constant chartering. For everyone else, the fixed costs of ownership quietly outweigh the freedom it promises.